So last week I saw The Watchers, and I was really debating on whether it was worth an analysis. It is pretty mysterious and conceptual, but a lot of it is all pretty clearly explained and clarified at the end. So what I've decided to do is pick out every little symbolic detail in this film. The deeper message of the film and the original book, the Irish mythology that inspires this movie, and what the ending means both narratively and symbolically. So let's get into it all. So of course the biggest inspiration of this film is the novel that this movie is based on and titled after, The Watchers by A.M. Shine. And after watching many interviews with A.M. Shine, you can very easily see how the message of the book inspires the meaning of the filmmaking. And here's what I mean. The major idea of the original book is about feeling imprisoned by the guilt, embarrassment, and discomfort of simply being oneself. Sometimes the actions of our past and the qualities that we're born with feel almost impossible to reveal to the rest of the world. The fear of being judged or shamed by the public for who you are or what you've done can be suffocating. And this exact same thematic message and purpose is what the film is trying to capture as well. In the beginning of the film, we meet our main character, Mina, who very clearly has this fear of self-reflection and self-acceptance. This is made very clear to us even before we learn the real reason why she feels and acts this way. It's all through her behaviors and actions. When she goes out to bars, she wears a wig of a different color, changes her name and her backstory. She becomes somebody else. When the store is slow with nothing to do, she sketches drawings of the customers who walk in to shift her own focus from herself onto others. Something she has to do in a situation like a boring job where it's very easy to sink into deep introspection. And when she's on a break, she can't help but have a cigarette. Likely an addiction she's picked up from the stress of her past, let alone isolating herself from her family, completely cutting off all communication and moving to a new country. Even the director, Ishana Night says it was these feelings within the main character that she identified with, which drove her to transform the book into a movie using her personal filmmaking style. Mina feels very much judged and feels this discomfort in being around people. And the only moment that she feels okay again is when she's alone. And it was very much just drawing from my emotions and how the world at times feels like that to me. And because the fear of self-reflection is such a big theme in this movie, the symbolism is endless with imagery of duplicates, mirrors, and copies. Long one-take shots of Mina in front of a bathroom mirror. The main characters all living in front of one big mirror. Sequences of cracked mirrors and shattered mirrors. Mina having a twin sister. And the most subtle symbol, Mina having to take care of a parrot. A parrot specifically is a creature who repeats back to you the things that you say, symbolizing reflection, as well as the fear and concept of being mocked for the things that you just said and did. And I'd say the most powerful symbol is Mina's twin sister, who represents the life path that Mina would have taken had she not felt she was to blame for her mother's tragic death. Her sister stays within the country, creates her own true sense of home, and starts a family. The inverse path when compared to Mina's. But also, when it comes to that specific mirror within the shelter that the four main characters are living within, we find out that the glass is a mirror from the inside, but a window from the outside that the Watchers can look into. And this introduces another major theme that was captured in the original novel and touched on a little more lightly in the film. This major theme is how we as people are obsessed with watching each other in a variety of ways. Invading the privacy of others drives excitement, which is why we enjoy gossip and get quickly attached to big rumors. Focusing closely on the qualities and weakness of our peers allow us to understand how we measure up against them. And even getting a peek into the private lives of those we are invested in can be satisfying, and also can be a vicarious moment of living through them. But all of those examples of watching the people around us indicate this personal dissatisfaction with life, deep insecurity, and desperation for true human connection, which are three issues that our main character Mina very clearly suffers from in this story, which then lead to her reclusive and self-destructive behaviors that we see throughout this film. And the very supernatural folkloric narrative in this film, the Watchers watching the four main characters, is all symbolizing this very human issue existing within Mina. And to me, the most subtle and most interesting symbolic parallel about how we watch people is how Mina is watching that reality show with that group of young singles all living together in one house. It's that type of show that lives in Netflix's top 10 as soon as every new season comes out. In modern society, this is one of the most popular forms of entertainment. Conventionally attractive people, luxury lifestyles, a highly modern, trendy, contemporary aesthetic when it comes to their sense of style, taste, and behaviors. And we may not even notice it, but a lot of us look up to these kinds of people in hopes to be a little more like them. And very strangely, but truly, this concept of idolizing and imitating the next class of people ties in with the real Irish mythology of fairies and changelings that the Watchers in this book and in this movie are based on. Mysterious creatures called fairies in Irish folklore would idolize the beauty and lifestyle of humanity and rank it beyond their own. Envious of humans in many ways, their smooth skin, rosy cheeks, and bright eyes, and privileged lives. They would even commonly go as far as stealing the offspring of humans from their cribs and leaving one of their babies in exchange. These babies left in exchange were called changelings. And in the film, some of these ideas are touched on, but in a little more of a loose fashion. The Watchers watch the captured humans to hopefully learn and be like them and live the way they do. And it seems that in the original book, through my research, that these themes of envy, class, and insecurity, as well as the tie-ins with classic Irish mythology, are much more fleshed out than in the movie. And if you've read the book, I would love to hear what you think are the biggest differences in terms of how the themes and mythology are explored. And approaching the end of the film, we learn that Madeline is an offspring of a human and a Watcher called a halfling, learning to perfectly imitate the look and behavior of the professor's wife who passed away. As a halfling, she can also live under the sun. She hopes to teach the Watchers to become as capable as her and hopefully escape this enchanted forest by watching her and the other three every night. Madeline also carried this hatred against humanity for suppressing the Watchers historically. So when Mina realizes this at the end of the film, her monologue to Madeline captures so many of the themes we've discussed throughout this video. You must have felt it, that you never really belonged. You know what it is to be human, don't you? It's jealousy and hatred, but it's also love and forgiveness. I know what it's like to believe you're a monster. I know what it's like to feel that half of you is evil. It can turn you into something you don't recognize. I think there are others like you out there. What if you could find them? We don't have to be alone anymore. So in the end, when you put these major themes together, you realize what the book and the film are really about as a whole. It's a story about learning to accept oneself, our mistakes, our character, and our past that we can't change. And a story about making the effort to connect with those who genuinely reflect and appreciate the truest version of you. Family, close friends, and suitable romantic partners. Distraction and isolation can be very comfortable, but are completely void of fulfillment. All right, that's my analysis. This was kind of a shorter one, but I'm glad I was able to cover it because I know this movie has a lot of mixed opinions, and I would be very curious to hear what you think. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.